Hello my fellow book nerds. In this video I'm going to show you 6 books, non-fiction books, that you have to read. They're pretty much amazing. I love every single one of these books, and honestly, give them a chance. Just give them a try. It doesn't hurt to just try them. Try to read them, okay? So, first one, number 1, is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. If you can read it. I actually don't have the cover for it. I don't know where I left it and it's kind of lost, but I take the cover off because I don't like reading them with the cover on. But this book is amazing. I am almost done. I have maybe like a third left of the book. But so far it has been amazing. I love it, and this one really makes you think about your life, assessing it, figuring out how things should go, and all that fun stuff. Pretty much it is just 12 rules for life. They're basic rules that you should live by, or that he believes that you should live by, but it's not just himself. He proves every single rule, like why you should do it. It's not just, oh, you should do this. No, it's explaining psychologically and a ton of other massive words of why you should do this. One thing that stuck with me in this book was how, I never thought of this. He says that you should try to figure out how you can become, it's gonna sound dark, how you can become a Nazi, like a German guard, like a concentration camp guard or security guard there. And I'm like, I would never do that. Like, my thought right away went like, no, I would never be that person. I would, obviously every person would say right now, I would definitely go against it. No way, there's no way, no how that I would do that. But he explains why you should really think that through, and that way, once you think it through, that way you can avoid it at all costs, pretty much. You figure out, the whole point is that you figure out how bad you can be to avoid it. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. But it's definitely a worth read. Highly recommend this book so much. Okay, next one, and y'all aren't gonna be like rolling your eyes at me, but I am a Christian, so I definitely believe this is non-fiction. It's the Bible. I know, my Bible is so beautiful, and it matches my walls pretty much. I definitely believe that everyone should at least read the Bible once, and if not the whole thing, because it is long, and yeah, it's hard and long. So I recommend at least reading the book of John in the Bible, because our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values, which pretty much come from the Bible. And I think the Bible is definitely the highest and best way to live your life. Like, if you live your life based on this book, it is definitely the best way. And obviously I believe there is a God that we should live under and obey. But even if you're not a Christian, I definitely recommend the book anyways, because it teaches you moral values and moral ideas and principles, and you understand why our country, the United States, is how it started pretty much. So highly recommend this book. My hair is going crazy. Highly recommend this book. Do not judge it just because, you know, you might not believe in a God, but I definitely recommend the book. It is really good. And if anything, it shows you what true love is. And yeah, I'm gonna start crying if I keep talking about it. But it is a fantastic book to read. Okay. Number 3, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this book already on this channel, but it's totally worth the read, is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, this book, so amazing. First off, it teaches you, well, it tells you right away, you know, you're starting off dependent. You're relying on everyone for everything. You are dependent. That's how we all start in life. But then he teaches you, like, these are certain things you have to do to become independent. You know, be proactive. I totally forgot the other rules, but like, be proactive to become independent. And he gives 2 more habits. And then after you are independent, then you become interdependent and be able to work with other people, be able to live with other people, and pretty much not rely on them, well, rely on them, but you're still independent of yourself, but you rely on them as well. So that's being interdependent. It teaches you how to, pretty much this is where I got calendar blocking, even though like I learned it from someone else too, but such a good book. Highly recommend the book. What's the next one? The Power of Habit by, who wrote this? Charles Duhigg. This book, I love it. It helped me change a bunch of my habits because pretty much it tells you what a habit is, like how you got your habits, but more importantly, it tells you how you can change them. And honestly, that's what we all need, to learn how to change our bad habits into good habits, because you're gonna have habits either way. You might as well try to make them good. Also, if you're into business in any way, or you want to start a business, or you're working in a small business or something, very good book to read, because he tells you and explains to you how like Starbucks became amazing, like Windex, like not Windex, Febreze. I'm like, I never even thought these things could happen. Like, it's kind of creepy and insane, and Target is slightly scary, I'm not gonna lie, but definitely recommend that book if you want to learn all that stuff. Okay, the other one I do not have, but I will put a picture somewhere here. It is called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Honestly, I thought I had this book, but apparently I guess I just got it from the library and I read it. But that book, so if you never heard about Viktor Frankl, he is a psychologist, but he's also a man who went through the concentration camps in Nazi Germany, and he pretty much tells his story and how he was able to get through it, how he persevered through that. Like, it's shocking and amazing and scary as heck. But he pretty much describes the psychotherapeutic method of how he got through it, how a man actually, how to pretty much define a purpose for your life and like be happy with it and imagine the outcome that you can have afterwards. Like, one thing that I specifically remember in this book was how I'm pretty sure he's getting beaten like every day or something, and he would imagine, just like while it was happening, he would imagine like another self of himself like in the corner of the room watching, but he was able to imagine a better life after it. And that's how he pretty much stayed healthy in a way, like mentally. Like, I'm pretty sure he was not okay, but still like able to get through it. Hardest things to read about, honestly, but such a good book to read. I highly recommend that book. I'm pretty sure I cried at least 5 times during that book, and I don't like books that make me cry, but definitely a book that I recommend. Last one is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. You guys know how much I love Simon Sinek. He's just amazing. But this is the first book that I don't know if it's the first book he wrote, but he has like a ton of books out, and this is the one where he pretty much made it like big. So he comes up with the idea of the golden circle, which is you have the bigger outer circle, which is the what, the one in the middle, which is how, and then the little one is why. And he explains how businesses usually go from the outside in. They start with what, and then they try to figure out why they're doing this, where you should actually do it the opposite way, where you start in the middle. You start with why you want to start these things, and then you figure out how you're going to do it, and then what exactly you're doing. It's shocking to realize how many people don't, even myself, like how many of us don't actually have a reason to do certain things or why we're working towards certain things. You need to figure out why first, and then you can go through other things. Then you can figure out how you're going to do it and what you're going to do. But starting with why is very important. And then in the book, he also tells you, he helps you figure out why, your why, and then how you're gonna do it, and what you're gonna do. Definitely a very good read on how to start anything that you want to do. Figure out why you're gonna do it, and then from there it'll be a lot simpler. So those are all the 6 books, but I am also gonna mention some honorable mentions because they didn't make it on the list, but I still think they're worth mentioning. So Uncle Tom's Cabin by, what's her name, Harriet Beecher Stowe. Very good book, highly recommend. I didn't say Big Magic because it's for creatives, and this wasn't a creative list. I will probably eventually make that book list, but Big Magic is a really good book if you are a creative person who just wants to express themselves in some crazy way. Definitely love that book. For Christian, I definitely recommend The Case for Christ. If you're not wanting to read anything but you should read, The Case for Christ is such a good book to read because it makes a compelling case for why we believe in Jesus Christ. So highly recommend. And last one, for some reason I've been into books and things about World War II, so The Diary of Anne Frank is also a very good book to read. If it's very simple, I mean, I believe she was 12, 13, 14. Definitely a good book to read, to just to learn how things were going and how people were getting through it. So those are the honorable mentions. I'm sure there's so many more that I haven't even read yet, but I highly recommend these books. So let me know which book you highly recommend that I should read down below. Let me know down below in the comments, and I will probably end up picking up. Honestly, with all this, I found a list of books that I want to read. I have the list over there, massive, but definitely want to read them. So thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.